Hi group, so today we're going to be looking at building a budget. We're going to be using Google Sheets. You might have Excel on your laptop. Both applications, bit of software, are fine to use. We're going to be using the Harry scenario to do this. Just as an example to start with, you will start using and creating your own budgets, probably at the end of this unit. But for now, we're just going to use the Harry's example and his salary and his deductions just to give us a grounding of how to use a budget. Okay, so at first, anything Excel or Google Sheets feels, looks, sounds a bit complicated. I know I thought that when I first started using it. I was probably in my 30s by the first time I really got a grasp of it. I always had a very basic understanding of it. But what we're going to do today, will be very useful for you in the future, and just getting a grasp of Excel in general for employers. It's one of the top things that employers look for. And if you want to build your own business, the ability to budget, to access funding and get grants and that sort of thing is massively important. Okay, so we're just going to try and get a bit of a grasp on how to put a budget together, format cells, and start using formulas in Excel or Google Sheets. Okay, so again, sounds scary, but if you need to watch this video 2, 3, 4 times before you get a decent grasp of it, or if you need to rewind this video, please do so. I sort of expect it, to be honest with you, but give yourself a chance to get a grasp of it, because it will be really useful for you. Okay, so we're going to use Google Sheets today. And we're going to create a blank one. So in your community research task in last term, you should have had you should be familiar with Google Sheets, how to move cells around, how to input text and hyperlink and all those sorts of things that we did on that unit. So this should be familiar to you. Just going to title our spreadsheet to start with. So just put your name and budget title. So we should have already gone through income and outgoings, and they are going to be our titles. I'm going to put income title because there are different types of income. And then the amount. So first of all is income title. So Harry's form of income was his salary, as it is with most people. And the amount was 1,583. Now, to start with, the first thing we need to do is what are called format cells. So the text ones aren't quite so important. Spreadsheets and Google Sheets tends to automatically identify those cells as text. But at the moment, this number, it doesn't. We know it's his salary, right? We know that that corresponds to a pound amount, but the spreadsheet doesn't know that. All it recognizes it at the moment is a random number. So that could be a phone number, it could be a date, it could be anything. Okay, so all it recognises it really at the moment is 1,583. It doesn't recognise it as £1,583 of Harry's salary. So what we need to do is format the cell. Okay, so and to do that, there are shortcuts up here for you to do that, and this one here is the obvious one, which we're going to use in a minute. But just to example the different types of things that it could be. So as I said, it could be a duration, a time, a percentage, but we know that it's a currency, so we're going to click on that one. That one, now you've clicked on that, that cell will always be recognized, unless you change it again, it will always be recognized as a pound amount. So if we put £20 in there, it's still coming up as a pound amount. Okay, so there we go. So that's now formatted as a currency. Okay, we need to do that with as many cells as we can, really. Again, the text ones aren't quite so important because they tend to stay as text. But so now what we want to do is we're going to look at his outgoing, so his deductions. And the titles on that were the percentage of his deduction, sorry. Percentage, Marcus. And the amount. Okay, these are titles, so we are going to put them in bold so they are more obvious as titles. Okay, and now it was income tax. Here's NI contributions. And his pension contributions. Okay, and now these cells here, we can, if we can pre-select them as the format that we want them to be. So those are going to be pounds, and that's going to be percentage. Okay, so that should be, so that his income tax was 20%, his NI contribution was 5%, and his pension was 5%. Okay, so we know the percentages. Now what we want to do is work out what 20% of 1,583 is. Now we've already worked this out on our workbooks in the last session, but we need to put this down in a spreadsheet. We need to use formulas to work this out for us. Okay, so what we do to start creating formulas is this button up here, top right. You'll see this sort of backwards Z sign. That is the function button, and this will start creating sums for you, all right, and formulas. So the formula we want is a sum. It will come up with an equal sum, inverted commas. Don't worry too much about the coding in the cell for now. We just need to know the basics, okay? So to work out 20% of 1,583, we're going to press, once we've selected that cell and pressed auto sum, we're going to select, so 20%, we're going to select that cell, and then to work out the percentage of something, as long as it's recognized it as a percentage amount, we times it by that amount. So 20% of 1,583 is 20% times that amount. Okay, so it's 20%, and to put any multiplication is a star sign in any Excel or Google Sheet. So Shift and 8, which is the star sign. So that will be multiplying that amount by that amount, and then press enter, and that will automatically work out 20% of 1,583. Right, so 20% times 1,583 is 316.60, and there you go. Okay, so you've now got that figure in there. Now we're going to do those for the rest of them. So 5%, click in that cell. I made a mistake there, so I'm going to click out of it and then go back. So if you make a mistake, click out of the cell that you're in, undo, and then try again. Okay, It's a good example of how to correct a mistake. So sum is 5% of 1583. The last one should be the same, but again, just an example. %5 of 1583. 79. So there you go. Okay, so we now have the percentage amount in pound coins. Okay, so 20% of 1,583 is 316.60, and so on. So now what we need to do is total these amounts. And to do that in Excel or Google Sheets, a little bit easier, but we're still using the sum button, is select all of the cells that you want total together. So 20 plus 5 plus another 5. I'm sure we can work that on our heads, but we need to total it. We need to create this equation. It's 30%. And same for the pound amounts. Just select all of those and it will total those up for you. Okay, press enter afterwards, and there you go. That is Harry's final sum of deductions. That's how much he takes out of his payslip each month through deductions. Okay. So the reason that we do this more than anything is because if something changes in life, let's say, for instance, Harry was all of a sudden on a bit more money and he earns £2,000 a month. If you change that figure, it will change all the other figures that it corresponds to. Okay, so that is now working out 20% of £2,000 and 5% of £2,000 and the total amount of £2,000, not 1583. And it changes all those figures automatically for you. So let's say now he's earning a bit more money. He wants to start putting a bit more in his pension pot, and rather than 5%, he wants to put 15%. And it again works out and changes figures automatically for you, depending on what's changed in your life, and what figures are changing. So yeah, that is the reason that we use budgets. Okay, so let's just go. Let's just correct these figures back to what it was. So 1853 for his salary and 5% for his pension. And we're going to put his net total. And put it in that box there. So I want to work that sum out. So his net total will be his salary minus all of his deductions. So that will be 1583, which is that cell there. And then the minus sign is right next to your 0 on the right hand side. Press that one. So the minus sign. So 1583. Oh, again, made a bit of a mistake. So go back. Okay, let's try again. So net amount was sum 1583 and then minus 47490. So select that cell, press enter, and there you have it. Okay, so that is Harry's expendable income. The money he has after he's left, after all his deductions, that's how much he's got to spend on life and other things that prop up. So we're going to go over that in the next part of this unit. Okay, so give it a go. Again, if you need to rewatch the video, maybe pause it or go over another bit again, please do so. Okay, it's never going to come the first time, but after a couple of times, this should become a bit more clearer, and this could be really, really useful for you in the future, and to put on application forms and that sort of thing. Okay, so give it a go. All right. Cheers, guys. I'll speak to you soon. Bye now.